Can you hear me now?
Yes. No, I
Okay.
see you.
All right.
Yes.
So basically, from 2011 to 2013, we participated in a hunger strike against long-term solitary confinement. And some of these elders I was speaking on earlier, they had been placed in solitary confinement from some had been there since 1968. Some had been in prison since 1968, and they went down in solitary confinement in the early 80s and early 90s, and they didn't just get out of solitary confinement to 2015. And a lot of them was principal thinkers. And one reason why I say they was principal thinkers because these gentlemen who orchestrated the hunger strike also drafted up a document called the Agreement to End All Hostilities, where a lot of these guys that was on the main line, they heard the agreement to hostilities, they didn't really understand it. So being that I was in solitary confinement, I was able to mediate among the younger class and tell them, look, this agreement to hostilities is not just a peace document. It's something about strategy where we can have proximity to get to know each other, sit down, put our racial quarrels together to aside, and talk about something more bigger. The bigger picture is freedom. So when we begin to utilize the agreement and hostilities, the principal thinkers that start coming out of solitary confinement, we had classes. So we had a Cage Universal class where we was promoting the agreement and hostilities. And then it allowed us to program in a way where we start getting certificates to get time knocked off our sentence. But CDC small r, and I say small r because there wasn't much rehabilitation at the time. When these men was inside the solitary confinement, there was no room, there was no window, I should say, for them to see out. There was no rehabilitational programs inside the solitary confinement and so forth. So when they came out, the goal was to rebuild relationships with the family ties, get to know the prisoners, the younger prisoners and the elderly prisoners, and get a sense of where we go after the hunger strike. So now that's where we at now. We have a campaign where it's liberating our elders, those, and you can see some of these men behind me right here. And these are some of the principal thinkers. I'm talking about these guys. You got this guy right here, Satawa. He's over 60 years old, and he been down for the last 31 years. He was in solitary confinement. And he was in solitary confinement for something that I'm about to highlight that's correlated to the movie that you all, or the book that you all read about, Just Mercy. In the book, Just Mercy, it was a guy in there, they call him, I don't, what was his nickname again? Woody D? Hold on, let me look it up.
Was it the guy who incriminated
Yeah,
Walter, or
Walter, but I was trying to remember the guy's name, his actual name. His actual name was okay. Ralph. His name was Ralph Myers. Well, Ralph Myers, he tried to show redemption when he tried to tell the truth against Walter McMillan and Johnny D, quote unquote, Walter McMillan. He was allegedly had killed the lady, Mrs. Marson,
yeah,
but it wasn't the truth. He was innocent. And this is what happened in solitary confinement all the time when you have a group of guys who come to prison and they're afraid because of the stigma that's in prison that, hey, these are the worst of the worst. So they didn't want to program, so they had this program that the administration created, Perrault, Snitch or Die. So a lot of guys they'll debrief and they'll tell a story and make up this story. And next thing you know, when it's time for these guys to go to board, they can't go home because they got a 1030, or they can't even go to general population. And the 1030 is a document that they use as confidential information. And so this is how it correlates to the book and it correlates to the movie, where people don't tell the truth because either they're coerced or they're afraid, but they don't know how it damaged other people's life because it goes with the narrative, the worst of the worst. And then